In 2017, we visited the 350 hectare Southern Dairy Hub as it was converted to a dairy unit, the intention being to experiment with and demonstrate dairy farm management, feeding and wintering regimes on a scale that would give practical and relevant results for farmers in southern regions. In December, we returned to see what's been achieved in the 4 years on the unit that's now subdivided into 4 farmlets.
The idea of the hub came around back in 2016. There was previously a dairy farm leased at Wallacetown, and it was called the Southern Demonstration Farm. So that lease expired, and that brought around conversations around a research farm, and over a period of time, we've got this Southern Dairy Hub. Farmers funded around $1.2 million of the project through donations, and we also have significant funding through Dairy NZ and Ag Research for the project. Keeping in mind the project's around $20 million, so it's a big ask, and we also have commercial bank lending as well. This is a great facility. In the past, where farmers in southern New Zealand have struggled to get appropriate research for the type of farming that we're doing. So often we've had to refer to North Island or Canterbury base, and now we have a fantastic facility here, and also the biggest research dairy farm in the world as well. And there's some really awesome data coming out of it. And the farmers that are involved in coming to field days and getting involved with the weekly emails and whatnot are getting a lot of value from it. And I'd certainly encourage everyone who's not to get amongst it. So nice photos of some cows there, Louise.
Nice photos of some grass.
We've got a 349 hectare property all up. So there's 300 hectares on this side of the river, as we call it. That's the dairy platform. Within that, we've got our winter cropping area, so our cows don't have to leave during winter. We've got full control of them. Then across the river, we've got a wee support block, which we run the calves from weaning through their first winter into pre-mating, as well as bringing some baleage back to the farm. So we set up as 104 paddocks here, each is about 2.9 hectares in size. We've got a 60 bale dealer bell rotary. It's got all the bells and whistles, so we've got automatic cup removers, we've got in-bale milk metering, on-platform teat spraying under every cow as her cups come off. We've got automatic drafting, automatic waste scales, and also a body condition score camera, which is a neat piece of kit to help manage our cows during the season. The effluent system on the farm, we have everything sort of gravities to some central points around here through a sand trap and then out into 2 weeping walls. From there we pump the liquid over into the pond, and the weeping wall materials once a year put out onto crop paddocks. The effluent pond gives us around about 90 days storage through a winter, so we really can try and meet our best environmental standards of putting effluent on when we want it, not when we have to put it on. And then that just goes out through 2 travelling irrigators around the farm, maintaining our application rates under 10 mils throughout the season. We've got 2 soil types on the farm, the Pukemutu and the Makarira. The more free draining soil type up on this top terrace here is really good through the winter and wet months. It's much easier to keep cows up here on this terrace. The bottom terrace is a very, very heavy soil, so we've got 3 foot of clay down underneath our topsoil. Drainage is a real challenge down there, and it restricts some of our activities. We are a research farm, not a demonstration farm, so primarily we are set up to do research. And the biggest thing that I've noticed is the control and need for information is absolutely enormous. So today we've got bales being fed out. Now a normal farm, even a demonstration farm, it's really simple. We make a decision, cows need baleage or they don't. Cows are fed out, job's done, that's it. We don't talk about it again. Here we've got to decide which herd of the 4 needs baleage and why. Go and get baleage from their pile if they've got some, feed that specifically out to them, keep records of it, so who was driving the tractor, what paddock did we feed, how much did we feed, and what bale stack or what paddock did that baleage originally come from. So that complexity and detail of information is huge, and people don't realise how important that is to what we do. So we run a really data-rich environment from my team as well as from the researchers collecting information as well. It's an amazing challenge and it's a wonderful thing to be part of, and what we're doing is exploring some stuff for farmers, and our job is to keep track of the information and figure out what worked and what didn't. We spend a lot of time capturing that information. We spend a lot of time managing within the research construct and ensuring that we follow the decision rules for every herd, but alongside that we've got to ensure that we optimise the potential feeding and production to bring as much money in, because we've got bills to pay just like everybody else does.
I think probably 23 got nice cover on it.
Yep.
And then maybe 76 after that.
Yep. Having farmlet trials is a really fascinating thing that we do, and there's sort of no one in the world that's doing it at the scale we are. Most farm systems trial or farmlet trials will have herds of 12 or 40 cows perhaps, and we've got herds of 170 to 200 cows. So we get to see all of the real world farmer challenges of they're not big herds, but they are still commercial size herds. So you get that split of your dominant, non-dominant animals happening, which is great. But yeah, the 4 farmlets, they're basically 4 individual farms that share a cow shed and share common management with my team. So we have 4 farms that we call pink, blue, green, yellow for easy management on farm. And the paddocks are all randomised, so that everyone's got the same walking distance, the same share of contour, of soil type, you name it, it's as fair as it could be. All up, we do on the milking platform around about 1,100 milk solids a hectare goes to the factory. Now the split between the farmlets, we've got 1,240 milk solids a hectare out of our most conventional farmlet, which we sort of look as the control, ranges down to 960 milk solids a hectare out of one of the farmlets. So with the 4 farmlet design, we sort of thought that there'd be 2 pairs. So the 2 standard farmlets would produce comparably, and the 2 low impacts we expected to produce a little bit less. But there's a real split between them, and I find that fascinating. Like, that's the cool stuff to look at and say, this got set up based on, imagine if this regulatory change came in and we had to change a farm system and we did this one thing to it, and there's only one difference. Let's do this one thing. Seeing what's happened, there's a bunch of stuff we expected. There's some stuff we really didn't expect, and there's one farmlet in particular that is off on this little tangent that's doing things we don't quite understand, but it's the 3rd year in a row now it's doing the same thing. So there's a real consequence of that input change in terms of farm performance, which is just absolutely fascinating to be a part of.